Welcome back to talkSPORT. I had you on here for a bit, actually. The one, the only, Mr. Darren Till. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How are you? You good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good. I can imagine it's been a little bit of a topsy-turvy week for you because a couple of weeks ago when we spoke, obviously the big news got dropped that you were entering the world of boxing. You were taking on a former world champion with a massive name in the sport, and you were going to be doing it on a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul undercard streamed on Netflix. Doesn't really get bigger than that for a professional boxing debut. I'm going to be dead honest with you, Darren. So with the news this week that obviously the fight has been now rearranged, we've got a new date for the Tyson Jake Paul thing. I need to catch up with you to see where your situations are. Obviously frustrating because you were gearing towards a fight in only a few weeks away from now.
Yeah, I tell you, mate, like, I spoke to my coach yesterday and I was like, mate, how much more motivation to stay in the gym? Like, I've been in the gym 18 months now. I want to know if you haven't been fighting, people don't know what you're up to, but I've been in the gym 18 months, literally just working on the craft of boxing. I've gotten really good. I've done hundreds of rounds of sparring, and obviously I finally got my date on, as you said, and as I said myself, one of the biggest cards in the last decade. So, obviously, mate, all the motivation was there and everything. And just woke up one day and I read the news like all you, just like, oh yeah, the fight's off, mate. So it's just, yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind week, to be honest with you, mate. That's why I've been getting back to a lot of people this week. People think I'm dead as well. It's like, yeah, it's been a little bit shocker.
Well, let's take it back a couple of beats. What's the reason in your head for stepping now into the world of boxing? Still a young fella, plenty ahead of you in the world of mixed martial arts. We know it's a brutal game, but why make the change now to step into the world of boxing? And as you just said, it's not like you've just come in and then hit it straight away. You've decided, right, I'm going to take a little bit of time to spend some time in the gym, get some proper work done. So therefore, when I do hit it, I'm going to be ready to rock and roll. You've been away for what? Best part of 12, 15 months doing this.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to just like leave when obviously I left the UFC. I left the UFC on good terms with my contract with Dana White and stuff, and I didn't want to just jump into something like I know I could have. I could have jumped onto bare knuckle one FC. I could have jumped into anything, but I thought no, I'm going to jump into this boxing thing. Obviously, the influencer scene is massive right now. I know sometimes it's a bit divided opinions, like 50-50, but it's hard not to like even Jake Paul himself. I know he gets a lot of criticism, but look at what he's bringing a lot of eyes to the face of boxing. Look, he's fighting Mike Tyson. I know Mike Tyson's a little bit old and stuff like that, but it was going to be streamed on Netflix. You know what? I think I'm not so sure. I don't want to speak out of context, but they got like 1 billion users worldwide, something like that. Like, so any person that has got Netflix would have been able to watch that fight. So it's massive thing. So I just wanted to, obviously going back a bit, just take time out and really work on my skills. Boxing, just totally focus on, as you say, one art, which is boxing. And then, 12 months down the line, this is what came knocking as well.
So where is it now? Because obviously, I've been told today that the Tyson Paul fight is back on for November. Part of that news was informing us as well that the Taylor Serrano fight, which is absolutely gigantic and a major thing for those two ladies to be on that card as well, that's going to be on the rescheduled card. Are you on the rescheduled card? Have you been informed? What's the situation?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, no, so it looks like November now. So obviously I'm under contract with Most Valuable Promotions, which is Jake Paul and his team. So that's what it's looking like. It's just one of them. A few months down the line, I'm gonna have to just. I don't know where I'm getting the motivation from to stay in this gym. It's I need a little rocker up my ass. But as you say, mate, at least there's a date there now, and there's still a goal and and something to work towards. So. Yeah, the news there, I would have liked it to be a little bit sooner, but I was sort of in my own head thinking September, November, that's when they were going to reschedule it for. So there you go. More time for them to, advertise it, more time for the fighters to big up our fight and more time to get ready.
Listen, in typical Till fashion this week, obviously when that news dropped that Mike Tyson was going to be out of the fight with Jake Paul, put your hand up straight away, didn't you, lad? I'll do the main event. Let's get stuck in. Let's rock and roll.
Obviously, mate. Listen,
is that the target? Is that where you want to get to?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here, mate, and say no, because look, you fight Jake Paul, mate, you earn a lot of money, and this is, as you say, this is prize fighting, Adam. I've always since I was a child, it's always been, no, it's not about the money, it's about being the best. And yeah, a lot of it is about that. You'll ask a lot of fights, but it's a prize fighting's game as well. Like, you don't want to end this game at 35, 36 and go, well, I was the best, but yeah, I earned 50 grand and it's all gone. You know, you need to show for something. So yeah, the Jake Paul fight, he called me out. I actually never called him out when the Chavez Jr. fight got made. He called me out as Logan Paul did last year as well. They're both at the Paul have called me out. Make no mistake, I haven't called them out. So I thought, okay, put your money where your mouth is. I'm 31, I'm fresh, I'm young, I'm the same size as you. Let's do it. And tumbleweeds, I never heard nothing.
What? Listen, you know that I'm a huge fan of yours, especially when you step foot in that cage, mate. And I want to see you back in there at some point. Have you shut the door on it, or is there going to be a point where you will step back into MMA?
I will step back into MMA. Even when I tell people my age, they're like, "Oh my god, I thought you was old," because I've been around for so long.
It's that paper round that you had, lad. It's that paper round.
That's solid paper round the lip. So, yeah, listen, mate. I'm 31 as I say. Right now, I don't even feel like I feel like I'm coming into me. I swear the work I've been putting in the gym. A lot of people are going to be shocked and impressed to see when I'm under them lights at some point this year. So I'm just looking forward to this little journey in boxing. As I say, mate, the door is it's on the latches. It's wide open to go back into MMA. So I've got a good few years left in this fighting, mate, and I'm gonna make another big impact when I eventually come back to MMA as well.
Just try and compartmentalise this, right? For a young lad that's always loved fighting, competing at the highest level, challenge for a world title in the UFC. You're now, I mean, what are we now? We're in June. So June, July, August, September, October, November. So less than 5 months away. And I know there's loads of people that have their own thought process of the main event and whether Mike Tyson should be fighting and the thought of Jake Paul in a boxing ring and all that. But when you think about where you've come from and that you could be on a Mike Tyson undercard, streamed on Netflix to the world, fighting a former world champion in your professional boxing debut, do you ever take a little breath and go, mad game this?
You know what, Adam? I think a lot of fighters will agree with this. I don't think you stop to smell the roses until the roses aren't smelling no more. I don't know how that sounds, but it's like, I think you're only really ever going to stop to smell the roses when it's all said and done. You go, wow, what a roller coaster that was. I think now it is a roller coaster, as you say. You don't get time to sit down. You get dragged from here to there. Your fights that happen. You don't have time to think because you're thinking about diet, meal plans, regimes, all that stuff. So, to be honest with you, no, I don't stop. I just, it is surreal. It really is. Going to be fighting on. In my opinion, mate, it's got to be up there. One of the biggest cards of the last decade. The fights as well. Mine, Tyson's, Amanda Serrano with Kate Taylor. So, yeah, it's weird to be a part of it. How am I, Darren Till, from little old Liverpool, part of this? But I am, aren't I?
Mate, you are. I'm going to come back to boxing in a split second. Since you've not been in the UFC, what have you made of the divisions that you've left behind? Welterweight and middleweight there, mate.
I think middleweight's just wide open, mate. This is going to sound mad. I know for a fact I can beat Drickers. I know I can beat Sean Strickland. I know I can beat Paulo Costa. They're all the guys at the top. Now, I missed Izzy's name out there because that's a fight that coulda, woulda, shoulda happened. And, who knows one day. But that division, I know that's wide open for me to be the champion. It's quite frustrating, to be honest. Sorry. Welterweight, different ball game together. A lot of solid competitors, especially the champion Edwards, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. I know we had our back and forth over the year, but I'm a huge fan of Leon, and I think I come from a striking background myself. Me and him have done a few rounds in Dubai today. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I think he's a phenomenal guy, and yeah, that's all I've got to say about them two divisions. I think the middleweight division's there for me to take it, and the welterweight division's just stacked full of solid guys.
You're a big boy at the moment, mate. I can see that muscle. I mean, them shoulders are looking absolutely gigantic. What are you walking around at?
Mate, I'm probably about, I'm not going to lie, 225.
Jeez.
I'm ginormous, but I'm carrying muscle. I'm not carrying fat. Like, I don't know, you can see me neck and everything. I'm just one big gorilla at the moment, aren't I?
Hey, so if you did make a return to MMA, are we talking light heavy?
Yeah, I think so. I can't do them weight cuts no more. Mate. I like my food too much.
Yeah, but you're in a great camp there. I mean, for those that don't know where you're working, obviously in Liverpool, in the Rotunda, we're working with Paul Smith, and there's a gang of guys up there that are creating some serious killers. I mean, we're even seeing guys now that are not necessarily from the area travelling into that gym. The likes of Josh Taylor, the likes of Dennis McCann. They're all in your gym. You're working with them guys on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis. I know they're not your weight category, so you're probably not knocking lumps out of each other. But there's a lot to learn from there, isn't there? Especially Josh, for example, who's been the undisputed champion.
Yeah. I swear, you go in and it's a collection of fighters with a collection of different styles. As you say, Josh Taylor for me is a perfect example. He's a southpaw. So for me to watch Josh, just watch the movements, in the ring, what he does, sleight of hand, all that stuff. And as you say, the same Dennis McCann, Liam Smith, even all the young guns like Frankie Sting and stuff like that coming through us, even Callum Smith as well. There's a little piece to take from each person in there. And, you go up and you can ask a question or two. And if you're humble enough, which I am, you can learn a thing or two. You don't go in a gym thinking you know it all. The minute you start thinking you know it all is where it all comes crashing down. So every day you go in and there's a collection of things you can just take from each individual fighter. Dennis McCann, Josh Taylor. Oh, Dennis, why do you move your head like that? Just that's all it is. It's very simple. It couldn't be more simple.
What's been... Listen, you come from a striking background, but obviously striking in MMA compared to striking in boxing is slightly different. So what's been the biggest challenge for you, do you think?
It's actually not slightly different. I'm going to go with it. It's completely and utterly one other end of the spectrum. It's like boxing. How you have to stand, move, is totally different to MMA. I used to have a big, wide stance in MMA, hands up. Like boxing ain't that. Boxing's feet close together, move once, move twice, in the pocket. More punching, obviously, for 12 rounds of punching. It's totally different.
How different is the range? Because you're used to be able to crack people with your feet as well.
It's completely different. As I say, you can't throw a hook in MMA the way you throw one in boxing. MMA, you don't turn over with the hook, because if you turn over, you get tucked down, or you get your leg kicked from under you. In boxing, you turn that hook over as far as you can turn it. So that's what I've learned with, obviously, my coaches there, watching the fighters, how they throw hooks, uppercuts, how they work inside the pocket. Because when we get together, MMA fighters, we're close to each other. We're grappling or throwing knees. We're thinking about takedowns. We're thinking about elbows. Boxing's not that. When you're close, you're working the body up top, up to the body. You tie up. You hit inside the clinch. It's completely different.
I'm looking forward to seeing the demonstration, mate, when this debut eventually happens, and fingers crossed it does go for you in November.
Oh my. Yeah, so am I.
Listen, top man, I always appreciate your time. I can sense a little bit of frustration. Are you going to take a little bit of time off before you get back into the gym? Because there's no point in burning it all out.
Yeah.
You're going to break a few bags in that Rotunda, Sunshine. You need to have a little bit of a rest.
Need to break a bottle of beer open, don't I? It's Friday. No, I think... Yeah, I've had a week off. I told my coaches, look, can I just get the week off I need? I'm not feeling sorry, so just give me a week
frustrated.
off. I'm sick of...
I understand frustration.
I'm sick of the sight of the gym. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, a week off. I'll just mess about next week. I'll just come and even do a few rounds of shadow and just, as I say, learn. I won't go out hard because I've got a few months now, so you don't want to burn out either. That's the problem. Sometimes you can burn yourself out, and I've done that a lot of times in the UFC career. So yeah, I've got time now, so just mess about a bit.
What version of Darren Till are the fans going to see in November then when you get your hands on Chavez Jr.?
Mate, everyone's going to be... I swear everyone's going to be really impressed with me. They really are. They're going to see, and they're going to see what I'm going to do to Chavez, the former world champion. They're going to go, okay, this guy doesn't mess. This guy hasn't been... This guy isn't taking this fight for money. This guy's taking this very seriously. So people are going to be impressed, mate.